It's an easy one. The lobster mac is the hardest one. I feel like that I've had. I don't know what to do with it per se.
Yeah.
It might work, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Strawberry Fields is the right.
And honestly, here's the other thing too. Like, I think it would be fine if you said like, "This is a tough dish to pair with." Try.
I'll probably just say shenanigans is nice. Or
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like even if you want to go more, do like a flavor wave.
Yeah.
You know.
Ooh, look at that.
Apple citrus. That was so.
Hey Matt, can you just do some test sounds?
Yep.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all that.
Do you want me to do it in the voice I'm probably going to be talking in?
Yeah, just talk like you're doing it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Who Needs a Beer here at Indeed Brewing Company. I'm just talking, there's a pizza on the screen, I can see it out of the corner of my eye. We're really excited to have you guys all here today in the Indeed tap room. We wish we could all be sitting here together having a beer, but I highly encourage you to grab a beer, crack it open, pour it in a pint glass, pretend you're bellying up to the bar here with me, and let's have a good Friday evening. We've got a great show coming up for you today. We've got Jason DeRusha from WCCO and food critic for... What's going on? Hey, there's Jason. We got all...
Hey everybody, it's Tom. I'm down here actually in...
From our Milwaukee tap room. Something together, which is one of our beers put together by our head brewer, Dan Stavig. Where we'll hear the happenings that are happening. We'll also see a little bit more of...
All right, well, hey everybody.
A little bit about our weekend web. To go beer. We also have beer in locations. I'm talking, I will...
Go a little that way, so you're just kind of centered. Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there. Hello friends, how are you today? Are you ready to play? Let friendship light the way. Laughing, learning each and every day. Together as we play the fucking Linkamals way.
Just drop an F-bomb in your kid's
Always.
toy song.
Always.
I think everything's set up.
Looks good to me.
Woo! 10 minutes to spare.
All right, boys.
Hey Kelly,
Yeah.
would you be able to do one thing for me really quick?
Of course, what is it?
Would you let me know what that exact verbiage on the "you're never drinking alone" thing is?
It is in the rundown already.
Oh, there you go. Love it.
Here?
Okay.
That's
What do we get to food?
as soon as James is done. I really want to try those
Getting
flavors.
sick of James. And that. Boo!
I wish we could announce something about your album on the show, but you know you won't allow it.
We will absolutely not allow that.
I wish we could though.
What show are you doing? An online thing?
No, I said I wish we could announce it on this show about his album.
Oh yeah.
But I know it's not allowed.
Why is it not allowed?
No, it's not allowed.
So if the guest host just decided that they were going to mention it?
absolutely not.
I never would. I never
Yeah.
would.
No mixing business with other business.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't shit what you eat, you know? They always say. Like, that's what Matt's always said.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Wait, did
Yeah.
Matt put something together before Tom breaks something?
That's how we had it. We can do whatever though if you want to.
You tell me, dude. That's how we have it in the rundown, but we can switch
We
it.
can switch it. It's...
Hey everybody, it's Tom. I'm down here actually.
Okay. You guys just kind of had them framing up the shot before, right?
Yeah. It was more just so the highlights aren't too hot. Just they were kind of angled in a certain way.
Okay. I wish I had taken a picture or something.
It's no big deal. I think they were more on that side actually. Like
Okay.
the way those were.
Should I do them all over on that side?
I don't think it matters.
Doesn't matter. You're right. Doesn't matter.
Here, I'll put on the
And are we selling any of these? Why is this here?
Yeah.
We still have some?
Yep.
Sure.
All right.
Sure do.
Great.
Maybe put it on the outside of shenanigans.
Yep, right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, how's that look, Emmy?
My wife just texted me and said we're already streaming.
Uh-oh. On what channel? On YouTube?
Probably YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Nobody really checks it. Like, it is streaming right now on YouTube, but,
Okay.
thank you for the heads up.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. and welcome to Who Needs a Beer here at Indeed Brewing Company. If you're a regular viewer, you might be looking at your screen saying, wow, Tom put on 100 pounds, he dyed his hair brown, and somehow he got way more handsome. Well, I am not Tom. I'm Matt. I'm one of our sales guys here at Indeed, and I'm excited to be guest hosting today for our 10th and final episode of Who Needs a Beer. There's lots of different ways for you to be consuming media and learning about local craft beer here in Minneapolis, and we're going to do that in different ways moving forward. Honestly, it takes quite a bit to produce this show, and while we've had a great run, we're going to go ahead and call it quits and bring you new content weekly, daily, who knows. So I just want to be honest right up front, this is our last episode. Now, if you're looking at the screen and saying, I wish Tom was here, please know he will be on this episode. Tom actually flew himself, he has his pilot's license, to Milwaukee on a business trip. So he got there safely, and he will be joining us from Milwaukee, talking a little bit about the tap room, and we've got a lot of other cool things on the show today. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown of what we've got coming, we've got our special guest, Jason DeRusha from WCCO and food critic for Minnesota Monthly Magazine coming your way. We have the feud continuing between Wisconsin Colin and Emil from the tap room about how to properly pour a beer. So we will be hearing Emil's rebuttal to Colin. We've got our QC manager, James. They'll be talking a little bit about pairing beer with food. And as always, we'll have our Milwaukee Minute. So here we are. We're in the Indeed tap room. So grab a beer, belly up to the bar, and join us for Friday's edition of Who Needs a Beer. To start off today, as I mentioned before, we've got a feud going between Taproom Emil and Wisconsin Colin, and the gauntlet was thrown down last week by Colin. So right now, we will hear a rebuttal from Taproom Emil. Take it away.
How's it going out there again, Indeed land? Good to see everybody, missing everybody as usual. Shout out from the bottom of Wisconsin to the tip top of North Dakota and everything in between for supporting Indeed, all of Indeed land included. I just want to talk some more about glassware today. It looks like there's been a lot of confusion about what type of vessel is best. I wanted to stay on the right side of things here, not get as sloppy with it as some of my colleagues. For example, beer like lavender, sunflower, honey dates here. A lot of floral notes. Gonna go ahead and use a vase for that. Absolutely accentuates the floral notes. Some of my colleagues in the lab, I'm not in the lab very often. When I am, they try and kick me out. They'll use these little beakers to test the beer. That's delicious too. Different nose, smaller top of the glass there. Some of my people, they have sinus problems. That's okay, not an issue. Throw a delicious citrusy beer like the Lucy in there, and I just skip smelling the beer altogether. Sinus problems, no problems is what I say. And last but not least, a very important Zoom receptacle. Heard a lot of people are doing the Zoom thing, myself included, who knew? You just put whatever you want in there. Ideally a little bit darker beer on a darker mug. And that way no one can tell that you're drinking a delicious Indeed beverage. Shout out to my man Colin Sins, who taught me everything I know about gas station sunglasses. Hope you're enjoying yourselves out there in Indeed land as best you can, all things considered. We miss you.
Thank you, Emil. And the feud continues, ladies and gentlemen. We'll slow things down a little bit, stop feuding, and talk about some things that I am very passionate about, which is food and beer. So we're joined right now by our QC manager here at Indeed, James. And James is going to talk to us a little bit about pairing food. As you know, now in Minnesota, for carry-out food, you can get some beer with it. And we have a lot of places that we're working with to make Indeed beer available to you. Of course, there's other ways to get Indeed beer. You can come to our tap room and get crowlers to go. And you can always frequent your local liquor store and pick up all of our different brands there. So hello, James. We're excited to have you.
Hi, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So James, before we kind of dive in here and talk about pairing food with beer, tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Indeed.
Well, my name is James Featherston. I'm the QA/QC manager here, quality manager per se. What I do here, I work with the production side mostly, making sure that the fermentations, amongst other things, in the process are going well. I do a lot of, there's chemical analysis, there's microbiological analysis. A big part of this falls under like the sensory aspect of beer quality. And then also, packaging take place, do things with that as well, making sure that the things that we're doing are within our specifications and make sure that everything that we do is, up to our code.
Yeah, so I know from the day that I started here at Indeed, quality and consistency is something that we preach, and that's obviously something that you make sure that we are following into action.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, from different size breweries as you get from smaller to bigger, and you kind of just choose what is important to your brewery, and then act on those.
Perfect.
Create as much, data and things like that as you can, so that you can dial in. The things that you're doing. Yeah,
and there's a lot of science behind it, but at the end of the day, it's all about enjoyment. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about enjoying some beers with some food. So we're going to talk about a few different styles of food that you might be getting for takeout, which we highly encourage these days, and then just kind of talking about the styles of beer and specifically about some Indeed beers that might match with some of these dishes. So first up, we've got Pizzeria Lola. We're going to go ahead and start with their spring salad here. So tell us a little bit about eating a salad with maybe some blue cheese, some vinaigrette like this salad. What goes well with a salad?
Sure, something like this salad, which is light, airy, but it's got a little bit of tannic, the greenness to it, chlorophyll. It's nice to be able to cut, complement that, and then cut through something like a blue cheese with what I would suggest is like a strawberry fields.
Okay.
Strawberry in a salad is a natural pair.
Yeah.
And with that rich blue cheese and the earthy blue cheese with the sourness that comes along with it, I think works really well.
Love that.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then for this one, we've got a Korean barbecue pizza. So tell us a little bit about pairing beer with pizza in general, what kind of works with pizza, and then specifically with a Korean barbecue pizza, and maybe even tell us a little bit about what pairs well with Asian food.
Sure. So pizza is the best.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what's nice about pairing beer with pizza is that basically all beer will go with pizza.
Okay.
It just kind of depends on what you have. If you have a cheese pizza, you might want to do something light, simple, like the shenanigans.
Okay.
Or a Mexican honey light.
Okay.
Something though, if you do like a pepperoni, maybe a pale ale, as the flavor complexity goes up, you can complement that with more complex beers.
Okay. So as the complexity of the pizza toppings go up, you might be interested in a more complex beer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you have a supreme sausage and green pepper and onion and all that, a nice IPA would work well with that.
Very cool.
As it cuts through the salty, savory aspect.
Love it, love it. So we're gonna move to our next dish here. Something that you don't necessarily get a ton as takeout, but seafood. We've got Smack Shack here, and we've got some of their lobster mac and cheese and their signature lobster roll. So tell us a little bit kind of about the mac and cheese first, and then about the lobster roll and what you might kind of pair with seafood in general.
Seafood can be kind of tricky. You don't want to have. There's a lot of flavor there, but it's pretty simple as a whole. So you don't want to get too much razzle-dazzle.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I think shenanigans or summer ale goes well. It's mostly malty. There's complexity, but it comes from the malt. This is like a very hoppy beer.
Right.
But Along those lines, something like our Flavor Wave, which I'm drinking right now,
Okay.
with some citrus and a little bit of that pineapple character.
Yep, and Flavor Wave is an IPA.
IPA.
Yep.
Exactly. That might go well with it as too. You don't want too much bitterness.
Yeah.
But I think a nice balance.
And I think that brings something home, and I'd love to know if you agree that sometimes it's just trying a beer with some food, seeing if it works for you and your palate. Right?
Yeah. So everybody's palate is different.
Yep.
We're up to like 33% different, just sensors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Things in our palate. So that's why we have different things that we like.
Yeah.
Our own preferences.
Mm-hmm.
So use those preferences. Use what you know and how you cook, and you can pair a lot of different beer styles with lots of different.
Very cool. And one thing that I've been getting a lot of for carry out, because I miss going to the bar and eating food, is bar food. So down here we've got some from Brunson's in St. Paul. We have their classic double burger, and then we have some of their maple soy wings. So both, again, just to kind of in general, maybe talk about the burger first, and tell us a little bit about what pairs generally with a good burger, and then what pairs with wings, and then we'll finish it up.
Yeah, sure. So, for me, when I think of a big, rich burger, first thing that comes to mind is a Pilsner.
Okay.
So we have a delicious Pilsner, formerly B-side, but Pilsner now. Great flavor, German style.
Yeah.
It washes those rich characters down. If you have a simple burger, cheese, bacon,
Yep.
what have you, that goes really well. If you have something way farther out, where you're throwing blue cheese and other things like that, a day tripper I think would go well. Or pale ale, but it's got a little more cream note to it.
So maybe a little similar to the pizza, where the more complicated the burger,
exactly.
the more complex the beer you might be.
Yeah, you can get a lot of more different interactions. With those different complexities. The wings, for me, I would go with a Pilsner, just classic bar. Our Mexican Honey Light, I think, would work well.
Okay.
The slight bit of lime in there, I think would play well with the soy, the Asian aspect of that. But even then, again, Shenanigans Summer Ale is going to be where we're going with.
That seems to be a theme that works with a lot of different foods.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a nice malty, slightly citrusy beer. So
Love it.
It tends to either complement or contrast, all of it as you need.
Very cool. Well, James, thanks for joining us today and chatting a little bit about pairing food with beer. I think one thing to take home again is just try stuff together, see how it hits your palate, but hopefully you'll be able to take some of these suggestions and try them at home with some carry-out food, which again, we highly encourage from any of the partners that we're working with, but honestly, any local business, get out there, support local businesses. So we go from one food and flavor expert to another. As we mentioned before, our special guest today is Jason DeRusha, who is a anchor at WCCO here in town, and then also does food criticizing, or I guess he's a food critic here locally, and sends out a lot of stuff on Twitter that he's been trying, but also at Minnesota Monthly Magazine. So with that said, our owner Tom, who is normally in my spot on Who Needs a Beer, sat down with Jason DeRusha. Let's go ahead and throw it over to him.
So we're here with Jason DeRusha, food critic at Minnesota Monthly, and also WCCO. Oops.
Oh, come on,
Should we
Tom.
start that over?
Want me to get out of Surly here? What?
Yeah, this is Tom from Surly Brewing Company as well. Anyway, he's joined us from his home. I think you have an early start every day. What time do you wake up every day and go to work?
I wake up at 2:26 in the morning, and I leave my house around 3:15.
Nice. So you got back just a little bit ago, have a little lunch, and get ready for a nap?
That's right. I stopped at my local liquor store. I mean, even though you introduced me as being from the wrong television.
All right. Perfect.
Having a beer with Tom, I better get myself some Mexican.
Absolutely. I am not drinking right now. I try to make it, especially when I'm here at home, make it till the end of the day. But you're at the end of the day, so congratulations.
That's right. Happy hour for me is right around lunchtime.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a food critic with all these restaurants closed.
It's very strange, understandably, right? Just as the restaurants closed, which St. Patrick's Day was the first day of the official closure in the city of Minneapolis and then throughout the state. It was right around the deadline for the Minnesota Monthly that's on newsstands right now. So I had 4 restaurant reviews written, ready to go. We had to scrap the whole issue because obviously frankly, we didn't know if those restaurants would be around when this whole thing was over.
Sure.
So we scrapped that issue and started fresh. And throughout the whole time, I've just been trying to be a way to let people in the community know about restaurants that are open for curbside pickup. And within the first couple of days of the shutdown, I put together a 1,200 restaurant map of restaurants doing curbside. It just started with me like reposting people that were posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then I thought like, oh, I should collect these. And so I started collecting them. And I thought it would take me a day or two. But instead I got 1,200 emails from different restaurants, which is great. Like it was a way for us to show that we care about them, we support them, and we want them to do well.
Well, and I think as your job, like you're supposed to be introducing people to places, and that's one way to do it in today's new world, right?
Yeah, and you have to face the question, like right now, what do people want? So typically, as a restaurant critic, what you're doing is trying to guide. I try to guide people to the good, but also caution them about things that maybe they should avoid. And right now, you think, does anyone really want to read about like a bad experience? Like everyone's doing their best.
Yeah.
Like that's, I tried to tell people like, all right, this food travels well or it doesn't. Like I think that's useful, but otherwise I think we're trying to give everybody a lot of grace and understanding.
Well, and also, a little bit of time to adapt. I mean, it's, you can cook food differently and do par baked pizzas, things like that for to go. Have you had any notable takeout experiences since this happened?
We've had some great ones. I mean, obviously places that do take out always have a little bit of an advantage, right? So in Maple Grove, we've got Lotus, which is a great Vietnamese restaurant. They have a spot in near Loring Park. Is a great family. Like I like to support them. We had a terrific experience with your neighbors right there, Jamie and Pedro. Man, they're doing a great job with the meals that you can take and bake.
Yeah.
So that's been fun too.
Yeah, I had some their enchiladas. I traded a little beer for a pan of the enchiladas, and they were fantastic. So
their michelada mix, which I love a michelada, which is kind of like a Bloody Mary with beer, I guess, is spiced, and they've got a great one. So people, I've been no surprise to see people in the wine and beer and food business like quickly trying to fill the need and be there for what people need.
Yeah, no, I think all of us have been just kind of adapting as quickly as we can. I know when the week where the shutdown kind of came to be, we had a big meeting and kind of told the whole staff, and then someone was like, "Are we going to do beer to go?" Yeah, I guess we are. Let's figure it out. So
I know you guys have the tent out there, and I think it's great. People are trying to figure it out. And, this is not sustainable. Obviously, there's a lot of concern about what things are going to be like, depending on how long this lasts. And who knows, right? You think like on the one hand, some of the predictions we're hearing are really dire.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult to kind of separate what was going on in the restaurant business before coronavirus from the impact that this is now having on it. I've been writing articles for 3 or 4 years now saying that we probably have too many restaurants in the Twin Cities for the population.
Yeah.
So, this I think is going to make that really clear. I think, before this, I would have viewed that we could probably lose 15% of our restaurants and be fine. We have so many choices, so many restaurants, and our population is not as big as the number of seats, especially when you count taps and food trucks and things that didn't exist really 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with you, and it'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds. definitely would never wish involuntary closure upon anyone. But it is definitely seem to be that there'll be some, and
yeah, my hope is that the people who make it through will be stronger.
Yeah.
In that there will be fewer seats to have to compete with.
Yeah, I think too. It's what are the motivations behind the owners, and I think anybody who's going to be successful in a restaurant really truly needs to be passionate about the restaurant, passionate about the food, passionate about the service, passionate about the relationships with their customers, and I think that's one of the things I've seen. For example, across the street, Jamie, she's one of those people who's super passionate about those things, and she's coming up with all these ideas to make it work for now with an eye on the prize for the future. So.
Yeah, I think it's, you hate this situation. There's nothing good about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think some of the innovations we're seeing will stick around.
Yeah. What was the last restaurant you ate at before everything closed? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's so strange to feel like I remember my last supper, but my last meal was the Saturday night before St. Patrick's Day. It was a wine dinner at East Side.
Right.
And the food was spectacular. It was so good. And then afterwards, we went to Town Hall Brewery. And I had a little bit of whiskey and then had a beer. And it was just a nice night. And that night, I felt it, though. I knew I had plans to go to a restaurant on Sunday.
Yeah.
Canceled. And I was like, I just don't feel right
Yeah.
now doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about your home life? What's your ratio for cooking versus takeout? And are you a cook?
Yeah, we do. Because of my schedule, we do a lot of cooking regularly. But we have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. And so a lot of our nights are normally spent driving kids from one thing to the next, right? So between my wife being done with work at 5:30 and whenever we got to get a kid somewhere, you don't have a ton of time. So during this time, we have been cooking a lot. So I would say we're cooking dinner every night. And I've been doing takeout more for lunch. So we're doing 2 or 3 takeouts a week because I want to support the people who frankly, I have a second job because of this industry. Yeah. And so you want to support when you can,
Yeah. Do people recognize you when you show up for your takeout and ask you if you're doing a review or not?
I will say that's nice. Like that's one question that nobody asks me anymore. No one's asking me if I'm reviewing them. So that's been good. Yeah.
Go ahead. What do you say?
Well, something that when you're a reviewer and frankly, people often don't know that I'm reviewing their restaurant when I show up. They might know me from Channel 4 or they might know me from social media, but people don't always put it together that like, oh, he also is the chief restaurant critic for Minnesota Monthly. So, it's kind of funny. I generally get recognized, but not always. People don't always put it together.
Yeah, you probably get a lot. You're that guy.
Exactly. They think I'm another guy. Like, you don't know. They don't always know.
I get the, you're that beer guy sometimes. Yeah. Right. Not nearly as much as you, but you went to college in Milwaukee, huh?
I did, yeah. Marquette University, met my wife there.
Wow, cool. So we have a second operation down there, a brewery, and
I do. You're in such a great part of town too, Milwaukee.
Yeah, Walker's Point.
Oh man, Milwaukee is one of the most underrated cities in America.
I agree. Do you have any fun stories from your time going to college down there you want to share?
Well, I was a pretty boring kid. Like I was super obsessed with my career. So when I was 19 years old, I was actually working overnight at a TV station. And I thought I was pretty hot stuff because I got to be on TV. We were a 26-second news update. So that job was me for part of my time there. And then I also worked at a radio station. But I worked at a radio station that was kind of embarrassing. We played soft favorites. It was an easy listening radio station. We only stopped the music twice an hour. The new 3.7. So I didn't tell anybody that I was doing this, but one of my friends ended up listening in the middle of the night when I was filling in on this radio station, and he pulled over and called the station. I almost drove off the road, like I didn't know you were doing this. So it was Milwaukee, and I actually lived there for 3 years as a TV reporter at WISN TV, Channel 12 at ABC in Milwaukee. So we go back there all the time.
Yeah, it's a great town. It's a great once travel kind of opens back up. I think anybody in Minneapolis who hasn't, Twin Cities who hasn't been there for a while, it's makes for a fun weekend.
It's worth driving there just for the restaurants. Like the restaurants.
Yeah. I find Minneapolis or the Twin Cities and Milwaukee to be very complementary. That I can't really say one is better than the other, but they sort of have things that each other don't. And
I always think Milwaukee and St. Paul have a lot in common.
Yeah,
where they're kind of heavy Catholic church presence. People talk about what church did you grow up by, blue collar. Milwaukee has that inferiority complex to Chicago, just like St. Paul sort of does to Minneapolis.
Yeah, for sure. I guess you want to do a little bit of rapid fire here and we can wrap up.
I'm ready.
All right.
Maybe I need another drink before I take it.
Loosened up here. All right. Well, I think this might be an easy one. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Best quarantine meal?
It was something we made. It was a mole chicken thigh from the Rick Bayless Everyday Mexican Cookbook.
Awesome.
I never made mole before, so that was super exciting.
Did it take a long time?
Yes.
I know there's some restaurant. Yeah, there's some restaurant in Mexico City that one of my coworkers raves about that they have never cleaned the mole pot. It just keeps going.
Right. Real mole probably takes 20 hours. Mine took about 2, but it was still like, it was fun.
Super salad.
Soup.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Where's the best place to get it?
St. Paul, it's Cafe Latte, like iconic cake there. Minneapolis, it's a new bakery called Black Walnut Bakery in Uptown.
All right.
Phenomenal cakes.
Check that out. Go-to pizza place?
Ooh, probably, go-to is Punch. Like, we've got the Punch here in Maple Grove, but I have about 17 places that I like depending on what I'm in the mood for.
Cool. What's the Mount Rushmore of Minnesota media figures?
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, Mark Rosen's retired, so I don't know. If you look at the iconic, I mean, you've got, Don Shelby, Mark Rosen. I would put Belinda and Amelia. That would be my 4.
I like
Belinda
it.
And Amelia Sandell. That would be my 4.
I like it. Are you Crazy Horse then?
I am not on the Mount Rushmore. 18 years here, though. It's been a pretty good run.
Yeah, that's great. Amelia or Frank?
It's 100% Amelia. 100%.
Weather or sports segment?
Ooh, I don't really care about weather, to be honest. Every day I put on a suit. It doesn't matter to me. So sports would be my pick.
All right, great. Well, that wraps that up. I mean, do you have any kind of parting advice for our millions of viewers around the world on how to get through this crisis?
I think the most important thing is to have your people around you, right? I feel very lucky that I get to go to work and see people, that I get to interact with viewers, and they've been so kind, talking about how important it is to have kind of like the familiar face there every morning. And I'm grateful I get to come home to my family and my kids and all of that. But the biggest thing is like, what makes our community special are the unique places and the unique people that we all care about. So now is the time, if you can, to make sure you get out there and you support those people. If you're going to the grocery store, try to find the locally made whatever. Same at the liquor store. I mean, today I bought 6 different local beers. Like, it's a little thing you can do, but it's the only thing we can do right now.
That's great. Thanks a lot for taking time today, Jason.
Thanks, Tom.
Have a great afternoon. We'll catch up with you later.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hey, welcome to Indeed. Did you get a chance to look at the menu? I can tell you about the Danzig Dunkel. It's a nice lager, clean drinking, but still has a lot of malty character. I highly recommend it. Yeah, you want one of those? All right, I'll grab it for you quick. Pouring just a little foamy. Give me just a second. Did you see Tom and Jason DeRusha? Weren't they great? Yeah. See, that's the type of experience that you might be able to have here at the Indeed Tap Room, followed up by a nice fresh beer if we were able to be open. Unfortunately, we've got to be closed right now, and everybody knows why. But you have an opportunity to take care of our taproom staff who can't be here right now serving you a beer and providing you with nice friendly conversation as I just did. So we highly encourage you to go on the Indeed Venmo and tip our staff. So taproom staff is out of work right now. Some of them are filling up crowlers for you, and we highly recommend that you come by the tap room, pick up some of those, take it home, pair it with some food like we were talking about before. But for the most part, they're down hours or they're out of hours. So if you've been waiting and watching every week and thinking, man, Tom calls out everybody every week, and I really would just like to be able to tip the taproom staff and take care of them anonymously, now's your chance, because I don't have access to our Venmo. So go ahead and jump on there. Tip $5, tip $1, tip $1,000, whatever you see fit to take care of our taproom staff. We know that everybody is digging deep in their pockets to take care of local workers and local businesses, and we really appreciate that. So whether it's here at Indeed or at another local business, please make sure that you're taking care of their staff. But you're watching an Indeed live stream, so I'm going to give you a shameless plug. Tip our taproom staff, please. You can scan the little QR code on Venmo on there, or you can just look us up. It's Indeed-Brewing. Go ahead, jump on there. I'll wait a second because I know you got to jump out of your Facebook or YouTube stream, tip on Venmo, and then jump back. Take a second. I'll finish up your beer. There you go. A nice fresh one for you. Hope you're tipping your staff, whether it's here at Indeed or any other place as we mentioned. Thank you. We cannot express it enough. We really appreciate your support that you give us by buying an Indeed beer, but also watching each and every week and tipping our taproom staff here at Indeed. It really does mean a lot to us and a lot to them. So, the time has come in the show that's normally Tom breaks something. But, as we mentioned before, I am not Tom. My soul is not as dark as Tom's. I don't have as much aggression built up within me. So, I'm not going to break anything. So we present to you a brand new segment. Rather than Matt breaks something, here's Matt puts something together. There it was. Matt put something together, a brand new segment. I put together that office chair. It had to be done anyway. And when you can convince your wife that you are both working and getting something done around the house, it's just a win-win. That said, we do believe in balance here at Indeed and on Who Needs a Beer. And it just wouldn't be Who Needs a Beer without Tom breaking something. So Tom's in Milwaukee. We don't know what he's going to break, but let's shoot it over to him and have him break something.
Hey everybody, it's Tom. I'm down here actually in Milwaukee right now, so I'm not hosting the show, and I know Matt's doing a way better job than I ever did with the show, and that's awesome. Matt's an amazing person, an amazing employee, an amazing MC. You might have seen him at Whirligig and Hullabaloo. but Matt is way too nice to ever break something. And so I'm going to give you this one final break something dispatch. If you ever want to see me break something in the future, you'll probably have to drink like 12 beers with me. But here we go. We're going to break something, all right?
What was it that I said there about Tom having darkness in his soul? Well, that was fun. Like I said, it wouldn't be Who Needs a Beer without Tom breaking something. So moving along, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we have Danzig Dunkel. It's a delicious beer that we have here at Indeed Brewing that is named after and made by head brewer Dan Stavig. To talk a little bit more about that beer, we welcome Dan Stavig.
What's the story behind the name?
The story behind the name is somewhat lost in the mists of time because people can't quite remember if it's just a combination of my first and last name, Dan Stavig, and then it's also a city in Poland, so I think it's all of it, all of the above.
What inspired you to brew this beer?
One of my favorite beers is Augustiner Dunkel. First time I had it in Germany, I completely loved it. And so ever since I had it, I've been wanting to brew a version of that here. And so every time we make it, I just try to make it as close as possible to one of my favorite German beers. And I think this is the closest it's come yet, but there's still room for improvement.
Cool. Describe the taste and drinking experience.
Taste and drinking is pretty straightforward. It's very malt forward. You'll get some notes of toast and a little bit of chocolate. It basically just tastes like Munich malt, which is the majority of the malt that we use in making this beer. Then we ferment it really low and slow to make it really clean and crisp. It's got a little bit of a lager yeast character. And then it's designed to have liters of it at a time. So we wanted something that was flavorful, yet easy to drink. And I think it's pretty close to that.
What's your favorite thing to enjoy with a Dunkel? Food or otherwise?
Good conversation is nice. Food, anything. I'm not a big beer and food pairing guy. They work, they exist, but I don't really think about them. I suppose that would go really well with any slab of meat that you just grilled.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you. Thanks for giving us some time and for giving us delicious beer. As you know, Indeed is based here in the Twin Cities, and we talk a lot about our home here in the Twin Cities and how much we love it and how much we love all the local businesses. But we just opened a second tap room in Milwaukee last year, and we equally as much love Milwaukee, the people there. We miss our employees that are there. We're thankful for them, and we want to hear from them. So presenting now, the Milwaukee Minute.
Go for it.
All right. What's up, sunshine people? Welcome to the latest and last edition of the Milwaukee Minute. A quick update from Milwaukee this week. We released a brand new beer that we've been waiting to release for quite a long time. It's a berry compote kettle sour beer, and it is absolutely perfect on this beautiful sunshiny day.
Thanks, Patrick. It's really a delicious beer. Also, we have our makeshift Indeed garden that we've been tirelessly attending to during this weird, strange time. But this week we also have BOGO, the Session IPA. I don't know if you know, but it means if you buy one, you get one for free. So do that, get your Session IPAs, and have a great weekend, party people.
there was the Milwaukee Minute. Like I said, we miss our coworkers in Milwaukee. We wish you the best. We wish everyone in Milwaukee the best. If you haven't had a chance yet, and maybe your chance was cut short by this whole COVID crisis to go visit our tap room and our pilot brewery in Milwaukee, we're lucky, like I said earlier, to have Tom over there. He flew himself over there either yesterday or today, and he's gonna give us a little tour of that brewery. So let's take a look.
It's shenanigans season. So kicking off this forecast, which I guess will be the last forecast, with some good weather for both Minneapolis and Milwaukee. So grab your shenanigans, I don't know, there it is, or whatever it is, whatever your beer of choice when it's 70 degrees and sunny. A little breezy in Minneapolis and Milwaukee. Minneapolis will maybe be mid-70s for Saturday. Not too bad for early May, and Milwaukee closer to 70, both with some sun, both with about 10 to 15 mile per hour wind. So grab your beer of choice and have a great weekend.
Welcome back. We appreciate that, guys. It's great to see the Milwaukee Tap Room, and we really appreciate seeing the weather for the upcoming weekend. Looking beautiful. We're hoping that it just keeps moving that way, that we can all get outside a little bit. It sounds like we've had a challenge put forth from our live stream on Facebook, and since we don't have an Ask Matt Anything section, I figure we can take a minute, hopefully less, to take on this challenge. Wade, one of our other salespeople, has asked, how quickly can I chug this Danzig Dunkel? So, you know, like I said, we got a couple minutes, let's try it out. I will admit that I'm out of chugging practice since I've just been hanging out at home. Believe it or not, me, my wife, and my 9-month-old son don't have chugging contests or anything like that. But, you know, raising a 9-month-old does drive one to want to chug a beer from time to time. So we'll try it out. So Wade, Ashley, Sully, this one's for you.
Yeah. Oh, still got it.
Whew. Very cold. Whew. Gosh, I guess I do still kind of have it. So, as we mentioned before, our tap room's closed. And it's a hard time for a lot of people out there, and our tap room staff is included in that. We really implore you to go ahead and give a tip to our tap room staff. Whoa, one chugs a beer and all of a sudden their words are all over the place. So our tap room staff isn't able to work right now. We wish they were. We wish that you were sitting here at the bar. But that's not the reality right now. And those people still have bills to pay, rent to pay, food to buy, all of those sorts of things. So you can scan the Venmo code. You can look up Venmo, our Venmo, at Indeed-Brewing, and tip our taproom staff. As I mentioned before, Tom will normally kind of call out some names of people that are giving tips. If you choose to give anonymously, now's your time because I don't have access to our Venmo. So you can just go ahead and tip $1, $5, any small amount, $1,000, $10,000, although I don't know if they let you do that on Venmo. But go ahead and tip. It's your last opportunity. It's our 10th and final episode of Who Needs a Beer. And while we may give you chances in the future to go ahead and give tips to our taproom staff, whoa, chug a beer, look out, come on now. Luckily, it's towards the end of the show. But go ahead, tip our staff. We really, really appreciate it. They really, really appreciate it. And while you're tipping them and while we're talking about that, make sure for any food that you're getting, any place that you're able to tip, go ahead, dig deep in those pockets and give a good tip. It's the right thing to do, and honestly, it really, really is helping people out nowadays in a time that honestly is really, really difficult for a lot of people. So if you're fortunate enough to not have this time affecting you too terribly much and have the means, go ahead, tip our taproom staff, tip the people that take care of you. The Venmo code is up there. You can go ahead and jump right on there. Nobody's gonna call you out. Nobody's gonna say your name. Tip our taproom staff. Come on, you know you wanna do it. Tip them. All right, that was a shameless plug. So I've chugged the beer, I've given a shameless plug. We're approaching the end of the show, as I mentioned, and normally we have Tom's final thought, and you might be thinking, well, we might be getting Matt's final thought. Au contraire, mon frere. We are ready to send it over to Tom for Tom's final thought.
All right, well, hey everybody. Today is the last show of Who Needs a Beer, and that was the last show of Who Needs a Beer with Tom, or in the case of today with Matt Plank. We're signing off not because that wasn't a lot of fun or we didn't think it was a good thing to do, but it's really beautiful outside, and we're going to move our efforts into other parts of marketing and other parts of our brewery. We've adjusted to this whole disaster over the last 5 or 6 weeks, and our people have been super resilient, our employees both in Minneapolis and Milwaukee, and so they're starting to get focused on kind of how do we both move forward through the rest of this kind of shutdown time and into the future. And we're really looking forward to that future right now. We think it's a bright one. We think it's a bright one both for us, for our employees, for our beer, and for you too, and for the whole public, for the country. And we're excited to keep moving towards that. Special thanks to everyone who did anything for the show, especially all of our great employees at the brewery, Andy, Morgan, her husband Aaron, who was doing the weather, Kelly Moritz, Ryan Bandy, Matt Plank, of course, and I'll probably forget people who weren't, obviously everybody in Milwaukee, Jeff and Amanda who did the Milwaukee Minute, and I'm here with them right now, so Amanda's actually right over here. I'm pretty excited to be here. I hadn't been down here forever, for weeks. It felt like a year and a half or 2 years because the world had changed since the last time I was here. Anyway, I digress. Also, special thanks to everyone who contributed. From the very early on, having people like Pat Dwyer and Harmar Superstar on the show, Mayor Jacob Fry, Jana Shortle. We've had all sorts of great guests, and they were so gracious with their time. Awesome tarot card reading, and just people who are super gracious with their time to take time on their days to share something that they were passionate about, to share their thoughts and feelings and fears about what's going on. And it was just one of those things that we just thought we'd do, and it became what it was. So we're not going to abandon you people who love live streaming out there. We're not going to abandon you. We're going to do some really cool things also going forward. I can promise you that. And I think just most importantly, thanks again to all of you for watching. Thanks for your support through this time. Looking forward to continue to get through it with you guys together. And again, looking forward to toasting all of you and drinking a delicious beer in the taproom in Minneapolis or in Milwaukee. Or maybe over at a great neighborhood bar, eating some great restaurant food. Don't forget to get takeout. Don't forget to get takeout. Cooking at home is bad for you, you know that. So anyway, get takeout. I'll see you in line out there. Be safe, take care of each other. Don't forget to try to look up and look forward. And cheers from everybody at Indeed. Take care.
Thanks, Tom. We really, really appreciate you. And as we just said in the video there, we really, really appreciate all of you that are buying Indeed beer out there. It sounds like I've received another challenge to chug another beer, and I think it's just because the person is another person that talks into microphones or in front of people from time to time and loves seeing me mess up and fumble my words. So I'm going to chug another beer just because I'm up for it. That looks about like the right size, huh? Perfect. You're not satisfied? You want to see somebody really chug a beer? Okay, well, James was on earlier. James, come on, you can do it. I know you're all into pairing beer with food and really getting the flavor, but you know, sometimes you just gotta chug one. Take it away.
I don't know if I can do what you just did, but we'll do it. We'll try.
Somebody told me that I chug a beer like Tom Brady, which I feel like I did at least okay. Oh boy, we're zooming in. Look at that. Must be 10th episode here. Must be last episode. We got beer dripping on his shirt. Yeah, there we go. It's it for James, ladies and gents. Woo. Yeah, pretty nice, huh?
Oh yeah, great.
Go pair that with some nice dinner. Cheers, James. Appreciate you. All right, ladies and gents, 10 episodes. We did it. As we mentioned before, we're going to be trying to bring you a lot of content as this COVID crisis continues on. And we really, really hope that very, very soon we can all be out at bars, at restaurants here in the Indeed tap room, eating together, drinking beer together. Until then, we want to take the opportunity to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for buying Indeed beer wherever you buy it, whether you go to a liquor store, whether you're getting it at takeout, or whether you're coming here to our walk-up window and getting crowlers of beer to take home with you. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't make it through this without you, and we really, really appreciate it. So make sure you're supporting small businesses and other craft breweries. And while you may be sitting at home alone, feeling lonely, just remember that you're not drinking alone when you choose craft. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Friday. Health to you and yours. Have a great weekend. Cheers, everybody.
throughout the week or some other point have like 30 seconds of like blooper reels of this thing, or just a trailer.
A trailer.
We have to have like of the first. If you look through the first 2 episodes, there are definitely plenty of times where someone is like, wait, you're live. Oh wait, we can hear you, you know?
For sure, top that.
There's still 18.
18
A
people.
little extra content.
Okay.
Alright, turn it off already.
What's this? Oh, okay.
I'm hungry.
Hey everybody, it's Tom. I'm down here actually in Milwaukee right now, so I'm not hosting the show, and I know Matt's doing a way better job than I ever did with the show, and that's awesome. Matt's an amazing person, an amazing employee, an amazing MC. You might have seen him at Whirligig and Hullabaloo, but Matt is way too nice to ever break something. And so I'm going to give you this one final break something dispatch. If you ever want to see me break something in the future, you'll probably have to drink like 12 beers with me. But here we go. We're going to break something, all right? Ha 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 ha!